New Beaver Themer is out today. Plugin, add-on, what is it anyway? We're gonna find out. What's up everybody, it's Beaver Themer Day. Today is the day Beaver Themer is released and announced. 147 bucks with a 25% discount. We're gonna talk about that today. Is it the right product for you? What is it all about? We're gonna dive into some of the thoughts and some of the feedback and impressions that I've had on the product and from watching the community over the last month or so as they've rolled up to this release. So before we dive in, it's youtube.com/plugintut, plugintut.com/subscribe. It's the #1 way to stay connected to this channel. I really hope that you do. So let's dive into it right now. So look, I wanted to do something a little bit different in this video. I didn't want to do just another tutorial video. There's so many people doing tutorials. They're doing a fantastic job in terms of doing step-by-step walkthroughs of what Beaver Themer is all about and some of the things that you can do. I might do that at the end of this video. There are some great people out there. Devinder, I mean, he is the go-to guy for the latest and greatest news, curated links and information, and of course other tutorials about Beaver Builder. Does a fantastic job. He's really well known in the Beaver Builder space. Nathan Wrigley, that guy is like a mad scientist in his lab, creating more Beaver Builder websites in a day than I have fingers and toes. I mean, he is just a guy who's just jam-packed, doing so much work in the Beaver Builder space. There's this bald guy who I think actually likes the E-word page builder a little bit better than Beaver Builder. He does a bunch of videos too. There are just dozens and dozens of people in the Beaver Builder Facebook group constantly putting out great information and have been doing some great tutorials all the way up until this release day. But before we begin, I want to talk about the value of Beaver Themer. At a price point of $147, is it the right product for you? There's a lot of noise about the price point for this particular add-on, and I want to dive into that today. Let's talk about the value of $147 for this Beaver Themer release before we get into the other sort of points of the Beaver Themer release today. 147 bucks, right? In this video, I just want to address either the WordPress consultant or the person who is using the Beaver Builder ecosystem as a solo store owner. They're not into the WordPress world. They just want an easy-to-use tool to build a website and run their business. First and foremost, what goes across both sides of the aisle is this amazing support, right? And you're going to see this not just in the Beaver Builder use case, but in any sort of premium plugin or theme that you're buying. Chances are you're getting support first and foremost from a team who actually cares about the software that they're building. They're going to be around and all that stuff. And they actually care about how you use the software so they can make it better and they can have a sustainable business. Speaking of sustainable, if you're a consultant, a WordPress professional, and you're using these tools to service clients and sell websites and other sort of web services, it's all about sort of profit and being sustainable so that you're around, right? I know there's a huge thing about how much do you charge for websites, how profitable is too profitable, all of this stuff. I see it go on in the space a lot. But the idea is you want to be profitable so that you can be around to serve as your customers, unless you're just a fly-by-night shop, which I don't know many, but although I've seen them. If you want to stay in business, if you want to be able to support your customers, if your customers want you to stay in business, then you should be profitable so you can pay the bills and keep going in this sort of world. And tools like Beaver Themer, Beaver Builder, countless others sort of help you be more efficient in your development process so you can be more profitable. It saves you time, it gets things done faster. Let's talk about the use case of a small business owner who just uses the Beaver ecosystem to manage their website. They're just looking for an easy-to-use tool to build a website themselves. They're not into sort of reselling these services or being a consultant or anything like that. How do they look at this $147 investment? Well, if they looked at one of the most important pieces of Beaver Themer, and that is customizing WooCommerce product pages. It's just one of many, which I'll talk about later. But the idea is you can do this stuff on your own. Again, there's a caveat, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video, but you can do it on your own effectively for $147. If you went to hire a professional WordPress developer or consultant, agency, whatever, on a good to great scale, you're probably going to pay between $80 and $200 an hour for a good to great WordPress developer. I mean, I've hired a whole bunch of developers in and around that price point over the last 5 or 6 years, and that's usually what I've seen as a sliding scale. So if you went to somebody and said, hey, I need a custom product page for my business with WooCommerce, can you do it? Here's the requirements. I mean, off the cuff, sort of a very loose estimate, depending on what that is probably $300 to $500, right? I mean, any developer who's going to take the time to discover your product, understand or your business, and understand where you're going with it, actually do the deliverables, like get the work done that you actually need done, and then deliver it to you and support you, sort of install it maybe, and get you up and running with whatever customizations they've made, you're probably talking at least $300 to $500. In the case of Beaver Themer, $147. If you can sit down with the instruction manual and watch countless of the videos from the folks I've mentioned at the top of this video, you can learn it yourself, get it all done yourself, and put that on repeat. So if you have another project that you want to do and you don't need to hire somebody to get it done, you now sort of empowered yourself to do this WordPress development, which would otherwise cost you a lot of money. And especially if you're an organization that just doesn't have that money right now, it's a perfect sales point to why you want to invest in something like a Beaver Themer. Again, there are caveats, little asterisks to that. We're going to hop into that right now. There are three specifically for Beaver Themer. Number one is it's really still going to have a learning curve. No matter what, just like Beaver Builder, you're going to have to kind of figure out how this stuff comes together. Beaver Themer is certainly no different. I think this is a good thing. The product itself is so powerful. It's taking years of WordPress development and sort of putting it into these blocks or Beaver Builder modules, if you will. Things like customizing a WooCommerce template or pulling in a custom field, that kind of thing. These are things you actually need to have some skill to sort of write that code. And what Beaver Themer is doing is putting that into its own sort of interface. So you're just doing that with a few clicks. It's not having to write the code yourself. Naturally, that is a huge thing to tackle. It's not going to be easy, although it's very powerful. It's not going to come super easy at first, and even for somebody who's experienced like myself, it's going to take a little bit of time to sort of work through it and understand how to use it. Probably no different than maybe you've experienced already with Beaver Builder, the core product. Beaver Themer is going to be a step up from that, and I think that ultimately that's a better positioning for Beaver Builder. It's certainly going to be the more advanced or developer-like page builder out there, but it's still going to attract somebody who's saying, hey, can I just do this on my own? Is this easy enough for me to just a few clicks here and there and all of a sudden I've customized an entire site? Probably not. You're still going to have to work through some of those learning curves and those challenges. Which brings me to number two. It won't do absolutely everything for you, although it's still doing a whole heck of a lot. It's not going to solve every single problem for you or every single development hurdle that might come up. Certainly take a look at the capabilities. Again, watching these videos from all the folks from around the Beaver Builder community, folks that I've mentioned, my own channel right here, check out stuff like that. It's not going to solve everything 100% right now. I don't think it'll ever will. And I don't ever think that they should strive for something like that, only because of the huge undertaking that is, and ultimately the difficulties and of baking all of that stuff into a product. Because every product, every other piece of software is coded differently to a degree. So they need to pull in and account for those types of scenarios, which I certainly know firsthand with my own products. So you have to sort of look at this stuff and say, are we going to be WooCommerce compatible today? Yes. Are we going to be EDD compatible today? Maybe not, but in 6 months, maybe we will be. Stuff like that will certainly have to be accounted for. Number three, and this is the third and final caveat, which combines number one and two, you still might need to seek professional help, right? Don't discount the professionals that are out there that are either professional Beaver Builder consultants or professional WordPress developers. Even if you're using Beaver Builder and Beaver Themer as a low-cost alternative to hiring a developer, and you might be in over your head with all of this stuff. There's a lot going on. There's the design of the site, there's the functionality of the site, there's connecting third-party services to all of these sites, especially in the e-commerce world. If you can't hire up somebody to do a full project for you, consider hiring them as a sort of consulting basis, right? Maybe sit down with them for an hour to make sure that the project that you're working on is going to fit the Beaver Themer and Beaver Builder ecosystem perfectly. Maybe you're overthinking the project that you have. Maybe you think you need to do something super complex, but you can find out that, look, with Beaver Builder, its core product will actually do it just fine. Or maybe a combination of a few other plugins, that kind of thing. That type of insight is sort of readily available if you're talking to an experienced consultant to get that stuff off the ground for you. So I think there's 3 key components to Beaver Themer, which make it an excellent choice and a great investment even at that $147 mark. Those 3 components are, number 1, customize header and footer is a phenomenal feature to add to the Beaver Builder ecosystem, and you can do that fairly easy with the Beaver Themer option. Customizing product pages with WooCommerce is an exceptional piece, and I expect to see that go even further with Beaver Themer as they extend that product. Number 3 top reason for picking Beaver Themer is certainly their conditional layouts. You can do things with logged in users that logged out users can't see. You can do that based on pages and slug, an exceptional add-on to the Beaver Themer ecosystem. So look, at the end of the day, what I hope this video has done has qualified you for your potential purchase of Beaver Themer, help you understand what it is, what it isn't, some of the features I'm excited for, some of the features that I know the community is excited for. Beaver Themer is set up to be a great product with a great team behind it, great support and all that good stuff, and an amazing community. Check it out. You can find it over at wpbeaverbuilder.com, or you can just search for Beaver Builder on Google. I'm sure you'll find it, and all of the links leading to that across the web. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, it's plugintut.com, youtube.com/plugintut. We'll see you in the next video. Beaver Themer Day. Is that a thing? We're gonna make it a thing today. For now, that's how you stay profitable with blah, 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 blah. Subscribe to the channel. Me, I can't get this fucking line out. Plugintut.com, youtube.com/plugintut. It's the #1 way to stay connected to these channels. I don't think I'm in focus.